got another NF. The Search.
We got NF, The Search, from his new album.
The Search.
Let's get it. How do you like NF so far? Is he growing on you or not so much?
I enjoy listening to him. It's just I'm not in that state of mind where I can listen to him all the time.
Yeah.
But I remember a moment earlier this year when like a lot of his songs really resonated with me. So I think he's very talented as an artist. Not just as an artist, but like a lyricist and an actor.
Yeah, it's funny. Like there was a moment in time where he was all I could listen to.
Yeah.
And I couldn't listen to anything else.
No, I know that feeling.
So let's get it. NF, The Search. Well, right away, first thing I noticed is that cage. That cage was in one of his music videos and one of the albums. I want to say it was Perception. Not Therapy Session. I think it was Perception, where he was like in that cage. But anyway, like it's symbolic. Like it's usually like in this video or his album cover or something like that. Obviously, you've seen the black balloons many times before.
And I noticed like his outfits are always very similar too.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't go all out with like looking glamorous.
That's what I like, because his music and his lyrics have so much fucking substance to it. Like he doesn't need the gimmicks.
Yeah, he doesn't even need any features.
He really doesn't.
Once in a while he'll have like a female vocalist, I think, right, featured in his songs.
Sasha Sloan was dope.
Yeah.
Sasha Sloan was dope. But yeah, like he doesn't need features, but like because he just has so much to offer by himself.
Hey, Nate. How's life? I don't know. It's alright. I've been dealing with some things like every human being and really didn't sleep much last night. I'm sorry. That's fine. I just think I need a little me time. I just think I need a little free time. Little break from the shows and the bus rides. Yeah. Last year I had a breakdown. Thoughts telling me I'm lost, getting too loud. Had to see a therapist and I found out something funny's going on up in my house. Yeah, started thinking maybe I should move out.
Yo, it's crazy. Not that it's crazy, but he's so open, and it's funny how natural it comes out, like how vocal he is about like how he feels and how he can do it so naturally.
Yeah.
Like
it's easy for him to like just say how he feels.
Yeah, and he knows how to put into words so well.
Yeah.
Like right away, like here I love how he refers to like his mind as like his house. He looks at himself from like a third person a lot of times. So like he always, not always, but he likes to look at himself from a third person. So I think it's a bit more objective versus subjective. So he's not as like, he's a really harsh critic with himself. And I think that's important for people who are trying to be really successful at what they do, to really be able to critique yourself on a level where it's not bias. Because I think it's very hard for most of us to face the truth. I know, like, for me, it's difficult sometimes to, like, criticize myself, but it's necessary to be able to criticize yourself from an outside perspective or from a third person, where you're, like, seeing yourself as if it's not you.
Yeah, I mean, adding on to that, I think it's easier to describe yourself when you're speaking in third person. Because when I think about, for instance, like talking about myself, it's always harder to like talk about myself than to have someone else talk about myself, or to write it out in third person. Yeah. So I wonder if that's also his method of bringing out his feelings, to kind of look at it as like an outsider.
Yeah. Because right now he's referring to things on a first person, but I like when he starts to switch off and refers to himself, like he actually starts to use his name.
And I found out something funny's going on up in my house. Yeah, I started thinking maybe I should move out. You know, pack my car, take a new route. Clean up my yard, get the noose out. Hang up my heart, let it air out. Air out. I've been searching.
Hang up my heart, let it air out. Love that. And like even talking about like going to a new house, move out. It's almost as if he's saying like he just wants to just like fuck everything. Just start over or just to do something else.
Yeah, that's very relatable.
Clean up my yard, get the noose out. Hang up my heart, let it air out. Air out. I've been searching. What does that mean, Nate? I've been learning. Grabbing my keepsakes, leaving my burdens. Well, I brought a few with me. I'm not perfect. Looking at the view like this concerns me. Picking up the cues, right? I'm quite nervous. Hate it when I lose sight. Life gets blurry and things might...
When I lose sight, life gets blurry.
Mm-hmm. Yo, I love how like in the background you notice like the I'm guessing they're like mental patients just like slowly like creeping in the background.
Yeah. And I love like how with NF, like even something as simple as like life being blurry. Like a lot of times we often like have this goal or we have these desires of what we want, but then somewhere along the line it kind of gets blurry especially as we start to do the things we thought we wanted. And it's almost like the grass is always greener, where it's like obviously with him, all he ever wants to do is being an artist, right? And to perform and be on tour and be successful at being an artist. And now that he's actually an artist, although he's very happy with where he's at, he realizes it's like, it's not that, like, it's not, I don't want to say it's not everything, because to him it's everything, but there's more to life than just that, you know?
And I think it's almost natural too to lose focus sometimes.
Yeah, when you're like hyper focused on like one thing.
Mm-hmm. So like, I think that's what he means by like life gets blurry, because I'm guessing there's distractions that come along the way, and bumps in the road.
Yeah.
My keepsakes, leaving my burdens. Well, I brought a few with me. I'm not perfect. Looking at the view like this concerns me. Picking up the cues, right? I'm quite nervous. Hate it when I lose sight. Life gets blurry and things might hurt me. It's probably gonna be a long journey, but it's worth it though. Cold world out there, kids. Grab your coats. Been a minute, I know. Now I'm back to Rome. Looking for the antidote to crack the code. Pretty vivid, I admit it. I'm in classic mode. Don't need pity given to me, but I can't condone. Talking down to me, I'ma have to crack your nose for cracking jokes. I'm looking for the map, the hope. You see that? They're making a whole lot of changes. Wrote a song about that, you should play it. I get scared when I walk on these stages. I look at the crowd and see so many faces. Yeah, that's when I start to get anxious. That's when my thoughts can be dangerous. That's when I put on my makeup and drown in self-hatred, forget what I'm saying. And
drown in self-hatred and forget what I'm saying. And like even like when he talks about things like his anxiety, like he's just very emotionally intelligent. Yeah, and very like he's obviously a deep thinker, and a lot of his songs are very introspective.
I think about like his shopping cart and what it's being used to portray, and it makes me think about how he's not into like materialistic stuff. He's always gonna have like an empty shopping cart. Like he's not gonna buy into anything.
Yeah. And it's funny because I think about anyone that goes through trauma, right? There's obviously 100 ways to cope with trauma, right? Where I think with him, he seems like the type to cope with trauma through just focusing on his craft, which is music.
Yeah.
But then you realize like no matter how much you focus on your craft, no matter how good you get, no matter how successful you get, that's not going to fix your issues with your trauma from your childhood. And I think that's why a lot of his music reiterates and basically portrays that, where it's like, hey, I'm this artist, I'm very successful, but this isn't the answer to all my problems. You know, because a lot of people, like, they're under the assumption, like, oh, you're rich and famous, and like that'll basically solve the majority of your issues, maybe your financial issues, but it doesn't really solve a lot of the internal issues.
Right. It doesn't make sense. Like, why would money fix your internal issues? Like, they have no relationship really.
Right.
At the crowd and see so many faces, yeah, that's when I start to get anxious. That's when my thoughts can be dangerous. That's when I put on my makeup and drown in self-hatred, forget what I'm saying, and where the beat go? Oh, ain't that something? Drums came in, you ain't see that coming. Hands on my head, can't tell me nothing. Got a taste of the fame, it upon my stomach. Throw it back up like I don't want it. Wipe my face, clean up my vomit. OCD trying to push my buttons, I said don't touch it. Now y'all done it. I can be critical, never typical. Intricate with every syllable, I'm a criminal. Intimate but never political, pretty visual. Even if you hate it, I'll make you feel like you're in it though. You call me what you want, but never call me forgettable. Leave you deep in thought, I can never swim in the kiddie pool. Waited, I've been thinking the cinematic is beautiful, man. I don't know if I'm making movies or music videos. Yeah, the sales can rise, doesn't mean much though.
Like, he doesn't want to swim in the kiddie pool. Like, he doesn't want it to be easy for him. He doesn't want his feet to touch the floor. It makes me think about how some people, they want like the easy route. They want to play it safe. But with him, he doesn't want to be babied. He doesn't want to be coddled like a kid would be if they were in a kiddie pool.
Yeah.
Because it's safe.
Yeah, like he's okay with taking risks.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm making movies or music videos. Yeah, the sales can rise, doesn't mean much though when your health declines. See, we've all got something that we trapped inside that we try to suffocate, you know, hoping it dies. Try to hold it underwater, but it always survives. And it comes up out of nowhere like an evil surprise. Then it hovers over you to tell you millions of lies. You don't relate to that? Must not be as crazy as I'm. The point I'm making is the mind.
I love that. Like, he talks about something so real where like our emotions just creep up like an evil surprise.
Yeah.
Like, there's not one person that I know that doesn't go through that. And so his line about how, oh, you can't relate, I must be crazy then.
Yeah. And I think also talks about like how we oftentimes suppress emotion, and then over time by suppressing your emotion, it sometimes it just explodes out.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
when people snap.
Yeah, exactly. And he even understands that buildup. A lot of people don't even understand that buildup, that buildup of resentment, where like you, and then you just your reactions are disproportionate to what's actually happening.
Yeah.
But it's really what it is it's all that buildup from all the prior things.
Yeah.
Like I think about like all the little shit you go through in life, and then one small issue finally hits that breaking point where it's like it's all the shit that's been bothering you for all this time, but now it's this one thing that just makes you just like pop.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times people don't understand, oh, it's only this. Like, I don't know what happened, but really it was just that buildup of resentment that he's talking about.
No, hoping it dies. Try to hold it underwater, but it always survives. And it comes up out of nowhere like an evil surprise. Then it hovers over you to tell you millions of lies. You don't relate to that? Must not be as crazy as I'm. The point I'm making is the mind is a powerful place. And what you feed it can affect you in a powerful way. It's pretty cool, right? Yeah, but it's not always safe. Just hang with me. This'll only take a moment, okay? Just think about it for a second. If you look at your face, every day when you get up and think you'll never be great, you'll never be great. Not because you're not, but the hate will always find a way to cut you up and murder your faith. I've been developing, take a look at the benefits. Nothing to meddle with, I can never be delicate. My even relevant, that depends on you measure it. Take a measurement to back it up and give me the evidence. Pretty evident, dependable, can never be tentative. I'm a gentleman, depending on if I think you're genuine. Pretty elegant, but not afraid to tell you to get it. Grip proper etiquette, I keep it to myself when I celebrate. It's that time again, but grab your balloons.
Keep it to myself when I celebrate. I like that. It shows a lot about his character, and it makes sense as to how he handles his fame, you know? He handles it really well.
And invite your friends, seat belts back on, yeah, strap them in. Look at me, everybody, I'm smiling big. On a road right now that I can't predict. Tell me tone that down, but I can't resist. Y'all know that sound, better raise your fist. The search begins, I'm back, so enjoy the trip. Huh?
Mm.
It's funny. It reminds me of like um someone that's in a mental institution.
Yeah, and like it's actually really sad because um people who express that kind of emotion are automatically looked at as like unstable, which means you're crazy, which means you need to be in this mental institution so that we can stabilize your feelings. When actually feeling, up and down is actually the most human thing to feel. Our natural state isn't supposed to be neutral.
Right.
I mean, it's okay to be neutral, but like, I don't know. I like that he touches on like how because he's feeling this way, oh now he's going to be entering like the mental institution.
Yeah, oftentimes I've said like I feel like he's like the voice for like mental illness because of like all the topics he touches on. I think in my opinion, I think he sheds the most light on these topics in comparison to any other artist I've listened to. Just from an overall psychological standpoint, you know.
Mm-hmm. Someone's have to.
Yeah.